Welcome to Bacalar. Come on in. We are at Hotel Azul 36 in Bacalar, and let's do a quick fire room tour. Ready? Big king size bed, storage, fantastic, desk for working, bathroom, bathroom, sink, toilet, lovely big shower, and finally balcony and our own hammock. Yay! And apart from the family down there enjoying the pool, we think we're pretty much the only people here. So yeah, we're going to enjoy the relaxed vibe of Bacalar. Essential bed test required. Ooh, I can roll over 3 times. 1, 2, 3.
What's up?
Thumbs up from me. Wait, does it lock itself? So, the story is, we've come to Bacalar because so many different people that we've met along the way have constantly said, oh, are you going to Bacalar? And we said no, and they said, oh, it's the best place in the world. Yeah. Everyone's just said how amazing and relaxing and vibes and all this kind of stuff.
So we thought it was a seaside place. Then we googled it, and it's literally next to a massive lagoon, like Bacalar Lagoon. It's called like the Laguna de Siete Colores, the Lagoon of 7 colours, because of all the different blues and colours you see here. So we got here earlier today, as you saw from the room tour. We said, let's go out for some lunch. We came to the first place we found, and it's this kind of idyllic jungle paradise on the lagoon.
Yeah.
We've got
a bucket of beer.
A bucket of beer to sit back and just enjoy the rest of today. And there's a guy over there playing trumpet along to some music. It's pretty good.
So far, living up to the hype.
Yeah. So we've ordered some food and we're just going to relax here for a bit. Cheers. So. So we are filming from our next location, which you'll see in the next video, but we're going to talk a bit, we want to go through the top things that we did there, and the top things that we recommend for people to do in Bacalar.
So number 1 is get out onto the lake. We rented some kayaks, which is a really great way to get around and see most of the lake. We went to Pirates Channel, named because back in the day pirates used to use that channel to come through and raid the town of Bacalar. No longer any pirates there, but an amazing area of the lagoon. We got the drone up to see more of it from the kayak, which was pretty stressful, but it worked really well and we could see just all of the surrounding area, which is beautiful.
Yeah, great place to put the drone up, but it was a very nervous landing as we kind of tried to land it back in the kayak, but it was all okay. He was okay, had a bit of wet feet, but generally it was fine.
Yeah. And then we kayaked across the lake to Bird Island, which
took a long time to kayak there. we put the GoPro in time-lapse mode and then honestly kayaked for maybe like half an hour to get there. I was trying to keep my head still the whole time. It's terrible footage, you'll see it on screen now, it's awful.
I feel like we were going against the wind maybe, But I think that's where getting a kayak is probably better than getting a paddleboard, because even though it took us a long time, I couldn't imagine how long it would take to paddleboard that.
But it was fun to see Bird Island. We were watching the birds for a little while. So we're not sure what these birds are. I mean, they look like...
Well, these are like kind of storks.
Yeah, like storks. They're all white, apart from... If you look... Oh, the camera cannot see this, I'm sure, but there's one pink one in the middle. We just saw it fly off and come back. It's not a flamingo, but it's close. We're going to take it.
To be clear, they weren't flamingos, they were just pink birds.
But the closest we'll get to flamingos.
And the noise around Bird Island is incredible. It sounds like a machine.
We thought it was on a drone.
Yeah, because there's thousands of birds.
Yeah, and then we kayaked back across the different cenotes. Cenote Bruja, which is like the black cenote. It's famous because you can see where the land drops off and it kind of goes very deep, and Bruja is one of the deepest in all of Yucatan. I think it's the second deepest, like 100 meters deep. You can see the beautiful kind of green lighter water dips into that dark blue, and that was really cool. And it's amazing how warm the water is as well. So then we kayaked back and returned our boats later that day.
Recommend renting a kayak or paddleboard if you want to do that for at least, I would say, 2 hours. If you want to do the round trip of seeing all the sights.
It takes time.
It does take time, especially if it's windy, which I think it can. When we were there, it's quite windy most of the time.
So the number 2 place that we recommend going to is the KOHUNLICH ruins. The name hilariously comes from kohun, which means palm trees, and lich, which literally sounds like ridge. So it actually comes from English when they were like the palm tree ridge, the Kohun ridge, but the locals couldn't say ridge, they said lich, and it became KOHUNLICH. So we thought it was some cool old mine name. It's not. It's maybe our favourite ruins that we've been to, of the 5 or 6 we've been to now.
Yep.
It's very much totally out in the middle of nowhere. There was no one there. We had, I think there was one other car there when we were there. We actually finally got a tour guide. Shout out to Joel and his company, which I'll put on screen here. It was really, really great. Took us around, loads of greenery as always. Really, really interesting kind of facts he told us. I'll put in the clip here. Tour guide Stephanie giving us the kind of top 3 things she learnt.
Tour guide Stephanie, back with you. Now with much more information thanks to an actual tour guide, Joel, who was fantastic. So we've got 3 fun facts to tell you now that we've taken away from this whole experience. Number 1, we learnt that the buildings were all painted really brightly. The entire temple was red, and like the palace here, you can still see where it was entirely painted in blue. Mind blown. All the like decorations and the steles that you see with the carvings, they were all painted and also decorated with gemstones like jade and obsidian, which it's so sad that you don't see that nowadays at all on any of them, because looters throughout the kind of 20th century, before the archaeologists got to it, the looters would come and get rid of everything. It's very sad. Second fun point. So we learned more about the ball game. We learned Joel's theory, he's been a tour guide for 20 years, and this is like the most objective kind of fact-based theory. It was like a fun game that was just a competition, but also turned into a ritual. There's a fly. It turned into a ritual when at times of war, the prisoners of war would be taken captured, and they were always important people like kings, princes, priests, whatever. They would be taken as prisoners of war. They would play the ball game against a team from here, and they would want to win, and then when they won, they would be sacrificed to the gods. The reason why they wanted to be sacrificed is that just before they would get back their honor and their title, so that when they went into the underworld, they at least, would be a prince in the underworld. So Mike's original story about the winners being sacrificed was actually true.
Nailed it. We don't really know the exact what happened, but basically getting the ball in these little hoops. And I think there's something that I read before around, I think the winner of those contests sometimes being sacrificed to the gods, essentially. It was very interesting.
Quick fact number 3 is that we saw some masks in stucco, which have still been preserved. Amazing, like the carving and the symbolism behind every single thing that was carved into it, all had a meaning. So we really enjoyed Joel explaining that to us. Can't remember all of it, so I'm not going to go through it now.
We also were lucky enough to see some of the howler monkeys there. They unfortunately weren't howling or doing their noise. Apparently usually it could be quite noisy. We saw some of them in the trees, which was really, really cool to see, little baby monkeys as well.
So yeah, it's about an hour away from Bacalar, so you can hire tour guides. Joel, our tour guide, can organise transport to the ruins. We just had our car. It's a really lovely drive there because you're so close to the Belize border.
Belize is over there. Can you see Belize? We'll see in a few years, Belize.
The ruins are beautiful. They're set within, it basically feels like you're on Jungle Book because it's in this really dense jungle, loads of palm trees. Yeah, favourite ruins. Recommend doing is probably no surprise if you've done any research about Bacalar, is going to Los Rapidos. So this is like a 20-minute drive south of Bacalar. Los Rapidos is maybe a little bit misleading.
It's not rapids. It's more of another lazy river, and you know how much we love a lazy river.
Yeah, you come in there, you've got this really great restaurant area where you can just relax, and then you walk up alongside the river, and then you just float down for a good like 10-15 minutes. It was just a really great day out. You can just spend the whole day there, get some beers in, get some tacos, some ceviche, and have a great time. One thing to note, we read this and ignored the advice, is to buy some water shoes or something that you can use when you're walking up, and we thought, nah. I was like, I've got my sandals, it's fine. But it is true that when you're walking up to get to the bit where you can go into the river, it's rocks, and it's quite painful. I don't know how to explain.
Very succinct.
Yeah.
In the end, I walked up in my trainers and just let them be wet, and they dried out. You wore your sandals. It was a pretty uncomfortable walk, to be honest. Yeah. But worth it when you get to the end. You just float back down. We used the technique of that we got taught in our previous lazy river here when we were in Tulum, about wearing your life jacket as a kind of diaper and just floating down, and it is really, really peaceful and lovely.
Yeah.
It does get a bit busy later on, but I think we're kind of unspoiled. It was still a very cool experience that we recommend.
Definitely.
The fourth thing in our recommendations is obviously sampling all the different food. It actually was, for quite a small town, pretty diverse in terms of the food you could get.
Yeah. My favourite recommendation for breakfast in Bacalar is a little boutique hotel, which is right next to our hotel. So they do an amazing breakfast for, I think it's £5 each, and you get everything included. So you get coffee, juice, tea, toast, bread, whatever else, plus a bowl of fruit, plus like eggs and avocado toast and all these different things. It was just absolutely delicious. The owner there was really lovely, and the whole setting was just great. Recommendations for lunch: catch was incredible, especially the catch of the day that you had, fillet of fish cooked in butter a la mantequilla. I don't understand how they made it so delicious.
Yeah, just great seafood, big recommendation. And then the other place we recommend is Kaipez, which is literally kind of next door. Food was pretty good. One of the main things there was there was this amazing pier which you could go and kind of run down. There was no one there, we were kind of on our own, put the drone up in the air, that was fun, had a little bit of a play in the water. So for dinner, there's kind of two places in particular that we like to recommend that are completely different. Number one is Christian's Tacos, which is this tiny little taqueria just off the Central Plaza. Super quick, incredibly nice tacos, some of the best we've actually had in Mexico.
Yeah.
So much so that we even ordered more that we really, really enjoyed it, seeing as we weren't even hungry when we went there.
Yeah.
So Christian's Tacos is definitely one worth visiting. On the other side of the scale is nixtamal. Not really expensive, but more expensive, but a really cool kind of ambiance to the whole place. It had a kind of open fire pit, the chefs were working outside, and the menu was just really interesting. I had the chocolate coated salmon, which was absolutely delicious. And
I had it was ribeye with like pineapple and grilled fruit, and it was just really interesting and incredible. We just got some free guacamole to start with these kind of black tortilla chips, and it was just very interesting menu that they put together, and delicious.
And it was really beautiful, the kind of the lights and the way that they organised everything and made it look. It was incredibly Instagrammable and very pretty. And
incredible guava mojitos. Delicious.
One thing that we read online when we were doing a little bit of research about Bacalar is that the water is more green than kind of light blue as it usually is, which we didn't really think was a problem. We got there, the water's incredible, it doesn't actually matter at all. But we then drove south, and this is our kind of 5th recommendation. We drove south to the smaller town of Zulha. The lake there, further down along the lagoon, the lake, is a different colour. I don't know if it's because it's higher elevation or if it's just kind of shallower waters, but it's absolutely beautiful, and I think more reminiscent of what the lake used to look like. But it's absolutely worth a visit for another, it's called the Lake of 7 Colours, and if you want to see different colours, that's where we went. So it was called Rancho Escondido in Zulha. Small little place, kind of like a picnic area. Basically, you pay like a small amount to go into. And the water there, the picnic vibes, it was all very local. There were no tourists there. I almost feel bad recommending it, but it was a beautiful place to go.
Final recommendation for Bacalar is to just relax. It's very much the vibe there. You come to Bacalar, it's chilled out, you just relax and have a good time. So one of our favourite places to go was La Playita, which is right on the lakeside. It's just kind of like this jungle cafe, incredible food, and a really nice place to chill out. We had like a working day there. Not really.
You can call it work. Editing these videos.
Yeah. And also to just then make use of the lake, just go swimming, play around, and just have a good time. The water in the lake is the warmest water I think I've ever swum in.
It's like a warm bath. It is delicious.
Incredible.
It's like a warm bath. It's so relaxing. Can't say delicious. It's so relaxing in there, and just the perfect temperature to just lie down and worry about nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. So the only reason we came to Bacalar was, we weren't planning on it, but we had so many different people tell us how great it was and we have to go. So we basically changed our plans, went there for a week, and we're kind of going there to see, is it worth the hype? And we can say yes. Yes, it is.
It's maybe our favourite place we've been in Mexico, actually.
Yep, 100%.
The kind of relaxing nature of it, it's not overly touristy, it's very quiet during the days. Yeah, thumbs up from us.
Thumbs up.
Hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's a different style today, we're just trying different things out. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one.